another tip. This one's kind of bold, but
we like bold.
We like bold.
We like bold and spicy.
I think you can. For me, it's doing it with the people that I love and trust. And I can imagine that if any of you out there are experiencing this feeling of losing yourself, it can happen with people that you love and trust. So this is kind of where you start, where it's pausing, taking a deep breath, and just saying out loud what is happening. Like, so feeling safe enough to say like, hey, listen, when I told you that I wanted chicken for dinner, I was actually just saying it because I thought you would want it, and I just abandoned myself. Like, or I just like kind of lost myself there, and I'd like to tell you what I actually want. This is a very like,
I love it. Elementary.
PG example, but I'm just saying like, I think for me, it's been very helpful to actually use my voice and say it out loud and just say, I'm really uncomfortable because in that moment, like I just completely abandoned how I really felt. So I'm just going to take a moment, take a breath. And like, I'd love to share with you like how I'm actually feeling or actually express. And yes, it's weird, but I think if you create a container with people that you love and trust, where you say, hey, I'm working on this and I would love for you to hold space for this or hold me accountable, you know, and this is kind of what it might look like. I might just say, call it out in the moment. And it becomes, in my experience, really beautiful, because then you get closer to that person because they are a part of like your growth, and actually they might learn something about themselves. So pausing, taking a breath, you need to close your eyes and just like remember that you are a soul in a body, and then speaking your truth, honoring that in that moment you abandon yourself. It's okay. You can come back, but like just bringing people in on your own growth, I think is important.
Yeah, it's like avoiding the micro abandons.
Yeah.
You know, like those
For
little
sure.
ones. My second one was, it means, you know, to not lose yourself. It means you're spending more time alone in general. And I think this is an obvious one that you all understand. But we were doing a healing session with an amazing woman, and she was talking a lot about ways in which we were plugged into different grids. You know, different types of grids that exist spiritually. And these would be grids that have been placed upon humans or grids that have been placed upon souls, such as grids related to social media, grids related to narcissism. You know, there's just very, very specific grids that people could be plugged into based on whatever's going on in their life. And I was thinking about the actual plug, you know, the actual visual plug in that we have as humans to other people, to our careers, to social media, to whatever identity that we have. You know, identities can be plugs too that you really have attached to yourself that are feeding you who you should be. In my case, it's a lot of probably related to social media, and then maybe some things in my past, but really unplugging from those things so that you can live as a sovereign being. And by being quiet and being alone, you are weakening that plug. So you could, you know, unplug through a meditation or a healer or any which way you can unplug from specific grids you feel that you're attached to. But if you're not completely aware of ways in which you could be attached to certain plugs, then spending time alone will weaken those. And eventually, you know, you'll be able to be sovereign on your own. But I think with being alone, I did a silent retreat last year, and what it taught me was that there is a hump, you know. So at first it's very uncomfortable, you feel weird, you want to grab your phone, you want to just fill whatever open space and time that you have. But when you are alone for a certain period of time, it gets juicy and divine. It is the best. Like, you just feel freedom when you've really accepted being alone for a certain amount of time. So spending more time alone will help you to find and honor yourself.
Yeah, I love that one. I've always kind of been a loner. However, I don't think it was intentional. Lonership.
It's literally the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Well, no, I just feel like with an intention of unplugging, right?
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes if you're a loner, you are still kind of like connected in sneaky ways.
Yes.
Like on social media.
Got it.
So just like kind of being a little bit of a reckless loner, where it's
Yes.
like, when you can be intentional about it, I think it can
totally.
be very...
It's not just being alone with your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, That's the tea. That is the absolute tea. Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.